I'd like to finish up with one last example. It's called Mozart's Musikalische Würfelspiel, or his musical dice game. When Mozart was composing, he was often quite clever, and one time when he was composing a minuet consisting of 16 measures and a trio consisting of 16 more measures, here's an example of one measure, he could come up with what's called a minuet trio for a total of 32 measures. But then he did something interesting. He composed 11 different options for measure 1 of the minuet and 11 different options for measure 2, and so forth, such that any of the options for measure 1 could be played followed by any option for measure 2, and so forth. For trios, he did 6 options each. Then what he did is to have somebody roll 2 dice in which the sum could be 2 through 12, and whatever the sum was, that's the option that he would play. He would roll then the dice, the pair, 16 times, recording the sum, and then that would define what minuet he would play. For a trio, he only did it with 1 dice, and so the options were 1 through 6. So he wrote a total of 11 times 16 plus 6 times 16, or 176 measures. However, since there are 11 options here that can be played with any of these 11 options, just for the first 2 measures there would be 11 times 11, which is 121, or 11 squared. So for the entire minuet, he could play 11 to the 16th possible minuets. For the trio, 6 to the 16th. So the total number of minuet trios that exist that stem from just 176 measures written is this number right here, which is 1.3 times 10 to the 29th. That number is so big that, to give you an idea of how big it is, if you took the entire Earth, the entire globe, and packed it to the core with grains of sand, that's about how many grains of sand there would be. There's this wonderful site on the web where you can compose a minuet, and you simply play music, and it picks randomly one of each of the options. So when you press play music, it will play a minuet trio that Mozart wrote, but the likelihood that anybody has ever heard that before is just as likely as they go to the packed globe and pick somewhere the identical grain of sand. So let's hear now a minuet trio written by Mozart. This has given you some insight as to how education can be more exciting, dynamic, and applicable with the use of technology.